Hello, beautiful friend, and welcome back to the Fabienne Show. I am so honored to be here with you today. This is one of those episodes that I've been meaning to record for a long time because I think it touches to the very heart of so many women that I meet and that I get to work with. And if you're here, I imagine that this is probably happening for you too. On the outside, you have a nice looking life, you have the degrees, you have the business, the family, the nice home. You are taking care of everything in your business, you are taking care of everything at home, you are reliable and responsible, and everybody counts on you. And deep down, if you're anything like me and what I've lived before and how so many of my clients are feeling, there is this nagging sensation that maybe you've been pushing to the side, you've been wondering about in the middle of the night. And this nagging feeling is, when is it going to be about me? When is it going to be my turn? Is this all there is to life? You probably, like I had, spent years, maybe decades, living for others. You're being the good daughter and the good partner and the good mother and the good business owner, the good sister, the good friend, the good community person. You're there on that association and that PTA or, whatever it is. Basically, you're saying yes so often, even when you want to say no. Maybe you are shrinking so that others can shine. Maybe you're over giving to your clients. You're over taking care of your team and coddling them. Maybe you respond to everything that your kids are asking you for. You're there for your community. You're there for your extended family until there is nothing left for you. And at some point, if you're like me a few years ago, the resentment starts to bubble up. And maybe the exhaustion starts to turn into quiet anger or just like a little bit of quiet despair that says, like, how am I doing so much for everybody and I am not at the top of my priority list? And maybe you're not even on your priority list. And that smile that you give to everybody is starting to be harder to fake. And that is probably when you're starting to realize that you have been, in a way, disappearing from your own life, like a little bit erased. This is what I've been talking in my Bold Heart Woman program for the last year with those who have gotten to work with me in that container. It's really looking at, like what I said earlier, like, is this all there is to life? I feel like I'm robotically showing up, but there isn't that much joy because I'm giving to everybody else but myself. And today I want to speak directly to that part of you, that part that is so wanting to choose herself. And I want to start by asking us to be honest. And why is this happening? First and foremost, I want you to know that this isn't your fault. In my 25 years of working with tens of thousands of women, I have seen the pattern that we women are raised in a world that praises women for their selflessness, for giving up our wants and taking care of other people. We were taught to be the good girl, and that a good girl means putting everybody else first and really ignoring our own wants and needs. I have noticed that we are conditioned as female to believe that choosing ourselves is selfish, indulgent, even greedy, and that it's just not what we do. So we go about fulfilling the obligations of others. It's like we perform in our life. We pretend to be happy when we're overwhelmed. We act like everything is fine, and all the while we're carrying this huge mental load, the long to-do lists, like I said, the obligations. And we have become so good at taking care of everybody else that we have forgotten how to care for ourselves. And I may have called this in another episode the martyr pattern, the martyr complex. And I'm seeing it everywhere, honestly. It is so deeply embedded in our culture. And I believe it's why so many of us accomplished women, and some of us even more accomplished than others, find ourselves burned out and overextended and just basically quietly yearning for something more and just asking, like, is this what my life is supposed to be like? This is what happened to me. One day it happens. Something happens. And maybe for you, it's just like, maybe it's been a realization, or maybe it's this whisper inside of you that says, like, I wonder if I can do something about this. Is this the kind of life that I want? And for others, it's a total breakdown where you wake up and you realize, I cannot do this any longer, and I cannot live like this any longer. Maybe it's the quiet moment in the car when you're just coming back, you're tired, you've just done the groceries, everything's in the back of the car, and you have to go pick up another thing, or you have obligations, or you have these people coming over for dinner and everything is on you. You have to, get the groceries and make the dinner and set the table and cook everything and then clean everything. I don't know, maybe that's just one example, but maybe it's that, or maybe you land on a reel on Instagram or a podcast episode like this, and you are wondering, like, is this what it is to live freely? And you realize that this is a moment where you want to change everything. And I believe that that moment is sacred. There was a sacred moment like that for me. And I believe that it's the beginning of you reclaiming yourself. It's this moment that you decide to stop abandoning yourself to keep everybody else comfortable and happy. It's that moment when you choose, as a defining moment in your life, to focus on you. Now, listen, I'm not saying that you stop loving the people in your life and that you stop showing up for your kids and you stop putting food on the table or you stop taking care of your clients. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you stopping betraying yourself to keep everybody else happy. This is the moment that you start making decisions based on your desires and your needs and not from other people's expectations. And so I'm inviting you to start asking yourself, if you're at that pivotal time in your life, ask yourself this: what do I want? What does my soul need? What would feel good to me today, in this moment, this week? And to start prioritizing yourself, and not in a selfish way, but looking at this as self-love in action. And what I've noticed is when we start thinking about prioritizing ourselves, there is this fear that comes up when we choose ourselves, right? There is a fear of, well, who will I disappoint? And what if they get mad? And what if they think I'm selfish? And what if I somehow lose love or a connection, or somebody disapproves of me for really taking care of my needs? And I get that that fear is real. Right? Choosing yourself will stir things up, not only for others, but also for yourself. But I want to offer you this. I believe that the cost of not choosing yourself is far greater than disappointing anybody else. You see, when you keep abandoning yourself to keep the peace at home or with your team or with your clients, there is this inner resentment that starts to build up. There's this heaviness. This is when your light starts to dim and your body starts to show signs of fatigue or pain, like sometimes even illness, because I do believe that the body is always trying to communicate with us. I learned this when I was in my first business as a holistic health counselor. Your body communicates with you with symptoms. And what I've noticed with so many women is that we stay small because we're terrified that taking up space will lead to rejection. But here's the thing I also noticed. The more that you choose yourself, that's when you teach others how to honor you. That's when you give the people in your life the opportunity to help you get your needs met. And you know what? Some people will rise to the occasion and some people will not. But the ones who do help you meet your needs, those are the people who are the real people in your life. Those are the people who don't love you just because you're over functioning and people pleasing. Those are the people who were always meant to be in your life. And what I've noticed is that this pattern doesn't just show up in our personal lives, it shows up in our business too. And maybe you've been undercharging because you don't want to seem greedy, or you're taking on wrong fit clients because you're afraid of saying no, or you don't want to make anybody feel bad. And maybe you're just still doing everything in your business because you can't bring yourself to ask for more help. So not only are you showing up as the caretaker in your family, but you're also showing up as the caretaker in your company. You're not in the CEO seat, you are in the doer seat. You are constantly in service, maybe even servitude to others. And what happens is that you become the bottleneck. This is when big projects don't get done. This is when your income just stays flat or goes down. This is when you stop creating new programs, new revenue streams, because you're too busy holding everything else up. So when I say choose yourself, sister, I mean do that everywhere. Raise your prices. Say no to that non-ideal client. Say no to the things that drain you, that you really just don't like to do in your business. Hire the support that you need. Delegate, set boundaries with love. This is your opportunity to stop white knuckling everything by yourself, because your business will only grow to the extent that you are willing to put yourself first. You are not meant to be the doer in your business. You are meant to be the visionary and the leader and the one who comes up with the big ideas and who has everybody else help you get there. Here's the beauty of what we're talking about today. When you finally start prioritizing yourself and your joy and your downtime and the things that make you happy, everything else begins to change. We're afraid of what people will say. What happens is that you start creating from this place of inspiration rather than obligation. I talk about obligation all the time because I believe that women feel obliged to take care of everybody else's happiness, whether it's at home or at work. And when you put yourself first, this is when you stop second guessing yourself and you begin to trust your inner knowing. That little voice inside that says you need to rest today. No, that is not your ideal client. No, that team member is not pulling her weight. And this is when your business begins to thrive. And in your personal life, this is when your relationships deepen because they're built more on you being your most authentic self. You're not trying to hold all of life together on your shoulders. This is where you stop feeling like a ghost in your own life, invisible. And what happens when you prioritize yourself is you have so much more energy. When you take that Friday off, when you say no to another person asking you to be on a committee or running some, community thing. This is when you decide that your life is your own. And it all starts with one bold move. Choosing yourself again and again and again, no matter what people will say, no matter if they call you selfish, even if they never say it. This is about you saying, what do I want to do? And trusting the answer. So today, I want to leave you with a simple question. Where in your life or your business have you been living for others? I mean it. Ask yourself that. Where am I living for others in my business and my life? What are you tolerating? Are you tolerating team members who are not up to par? Do you need your teenagers to do their own laundry, but you haven't said anything? And what would change if you started to put yourself first, to ask, to speak up, to take up more space, getting your needs met, being more vocal about what makes you happy? Or what would help you in your business? This will transform your personal life, but it will also transform your business. And I get that it's difficult to do this when you're on your own. If you don't have examples or even just, dare I say, scripts of how to use this in your personal life, in your business life, it can feel really isolating to say, I'm going to put myself first. But I will tell you this, if you start doing this in your business and in your life, you'll start making more money, you'll work less, and you'll be happier. And if this is resonating with you and you're realizing that you don't want to do this alone, I want to invite you to have a conversation with me. I don't know if you know, but I offer a limited number of get acquainted calls per month. And this is an opportunity to have a conversation with me and tell me what's working in your business. Most importantly, tell me what's not working in your business. You want to be at multiple six figures or even $1 million a year in your business, but you don't know how? I would be happy to help you create a roadmap for that. This is me getting to know you better, you getting to know me better, and strategizing a different approach together so that you create a business that supports you and at the same time create a delicious life that you love. So if it speaks to you, we can explore what your life and business could look like if you had a supportive container to hold you while you reclaim your time and your energy and raise your income and your joy. And if it feels aligned, I can share more about my Bold Heart community, the sisterhood of women entrepreneurs who are choosing themselves while they are building seven-figure businesses without burnout and just remembering who they truly are and what they truly want. Because what's the point of scaling a business if you're burnt out and just going through the motions of life? The link to book a get acquainted call with me is in the show notes. I would love to meet you. I would love to get to know you better. And I leave you with this. You are not here to take care of everybody else's needs, and certainly not to abandon yourself. You are here to be the fullest expression of who you really are and to get your needs met. You are here to be fully, gloriously, powerfully you. Happy, fulfilled, on purpose, with a purpose. And I am here cheering you on, always, sending you all my love.